That'd be awesome.
Let's try my own phone too.
You just walk like a
Okay, guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. Hello guys, my name is Akin. I have Chris Fair, David Little. We're missing Jan Parks, but she's at a family emergency. And we got Michael Wilme. And this is the gas station paradigm. Next slide. Alright, our problem statement is that we have been asked to create a program that will calculate and display a customer's charges and total bill. In order to have the program run properly, the customer will be required to select a few predetermined settings, enabling the program to become active. Next. Alright. Like I said, as the program runs, it must be able to determine the price per gallon of the gasoline choice selected, the charges that will apply to the service level selected, the appropriate taxes associated with the charge, and it must be able to display the information in a fashion which the customer can just look at the receipt and they can determine what charges are for what, and it's just simple readout for them. Next.
Can we go back to the previous slide?
One slide.
One interesting thing about this slide right here, and when we was actually doing this, is how many of you guys actually use diesel? Diesel, anyone? No. Has anyone ever used diesel?
No jetters.
I had no idea exactly what leaded gas was until I actually looked it up. So I actually learned about this. Also, what is cool is I'm from New Jersey and we don't pump our own gas, so I found that quite interesting. That was the only thing I actually liked about New Jersey. So everything is you roll your window down a little bit, say fill it up on premium, and you're on your way. So that's a plus. Here in Virginia, I've never used full service because I guess it costs more. I've never even saw it anywhere, but it definitely costs more. So I guess maybe it's for handicapped people. I'm not sure. So next slide, please. Next slide.
Okay, the steps in development. The problem at hand, to develop the program that will meet the customer's needs, you need to output the correct amounts, be able to be clearly read by the customers who are the ones that are going to be purchasing the gas from the different locations. The program is also going to have the ability to accept the gasoline amounts so that when the prices of leaded and unleaded gasoline change, the customer is going to be able to change the variables without any hassle. Since obviously gas changes all the time, they're going to have to be able to change that as well. Okay, now that we have the inputs and outputs, we have to develop an outline that will provide us the guide that we must follow in order to come to our final solution. This will allow us to follow a well-defined path that can be changed if needed. You're going to have to determine the inputs and outputs, the prices of the gas, the taxes that are going to go on the gas. All this is going to have to be predetermined, input into the program, the different charges that are going to be charged, whether or not the customer is going to just get full service or just allow you to fill up their vehicle, or if they're going to get full service and have everything with the vehicle checked. Now that we have an outline to follow, we need to develop the algorithm. The algorithm is going to be the answer to the problem. It's going to be all the steps in a specific order that can be input into the program and actually put into the code. Okay, once the algorithm is then finished and is in the final pseudocode, we're going to have to desk check this. We're going to actually have to take values, input them into the program, run it through 3 different times with 3 different values, and verify that we're actually going to get the correct output, so that way when the customers are coming and purchasing the gas, that the amounts are going to be right and we're not going to be charging them the wrong amounts and not making our money or charging them too much. Once the pseudocode has been tested and approved by the customer, it's going to be compiled into an actual code, put into the appropriate programming language for the platform it's going to be running on, whichever language is going to make it work the best. And then once the appropriate language, the code will be run on a computer to verify how and make sure that it was working and will work on the computer system that it's going to be running on. And now that the program's been tested, coded, implemented, and working, we're going to document all the steps so that way we know what steps we took to get to the final solution. If anybody comes in after us and needs to change anything, or if we need to go back in and change anything, you need to have it documented so that you can go back, you know where all your steps were, find out where the problem might be, and look at exactly where you may need to update in the future.
All right, this is our IPO chart. Basically, it's the inputs, processes, and outputs. For our inputs, we have the gasoline type, whether it's leaded or unleaded. And then next, we have the service type. If it's self-service, full service, or a gas and go. And then additionally, we have the federal gasoline tax and the additional state sales tax. For our processes, we have a prompt for gasoline type, and then it will get the gasoline type, it will get the gasoline cost, it will prompt for a service type, it will get the service type. It will calculate the federal gasoline tax, it will add the gasoline cost plus the federal tax. It will calculate the sales tax on top of all this. And then on top of that, it's going to add gasoline cost plus the sales tax. And then it's going to calculate the customer's charges, and then it's going to calculate the total bill, and then it's going to display the total bill on the screen for the customer to see. So our outputs is going to be the number of gallons pumped. It's going to be displayed on the screen, and then the gasoline on the receipt, the gasoline price per gallon, the service type that was received, federal gas tax, state sales tax, and the customer's total bill amount. Next slide, please.
Okay, so now that we've got our IPO chart pretty much done and ironed out and hammered down, we went ahead and did the pseudo code. The pseudo code is going to be several different slides. We actually started by setting the initial administrative parameters. Basically, these are the variables that are changeable by the administration people. The cost of the tax, what the price is. And the reason why we did it this way is we set the variables only in one location. So throughout the whole process, the variables are used, and we only have to change them once. We don't have to change them in each different location throughout the code.
These are known as global variables.
The next slide, please. So then we actually start getting into the calculation. We'll prompt for the service type first because we need to know what kind of service the customer wants. We're going to prompt for it, but we're not going to get it yet. We're going to get it later on. Then we're going to calculate the gas totals. We're going to prompt for the gas type, get the gas type. Then I use an if-else statement. If unleaded, then the gas price is going to be equal to unleaded price times the volume counter. Gas tax is going to be gas price times federal tax rate divided by 100. The tax rate that's inputted at the very beginning is going to be the actual percentage. So instead of having to worry about the person who might not know the program saying 0.28, we're actually going to just tell them, 28% or 2% or 1%, whatever. And they'll actually put in 2%, and then that's going to be defined as federal gas tax rate divided by 100. The gas total is going to be the gas price plus the gas tax. The reason why we did this is because the gas tax is not taxable by the state tax. So we can't actually make this just one equation. We had to break it down into two equations because the federal gas tax is not taxable on the state tax. So, or else the gas price is going to be leaded times volume counter, and then these two lines are the same as those two lines. And if. So next slide. And then we're going to calculate the subtotal. We're going to actually get the service type and add the service type to the gas price. So this is so we can actually calculate the sales tax. So the gas price excludes the federal gas tax. So self-service is equal to subtotal plus equals the gas price because there is no charge for self-service. Gas and go subtotal equals gas price plus gas and go rate. Full service equals subtotal equals gas price plus full service rate. Then we calculate the sales tax using the subtotal, which equals subtotal times the sales tax rate divided by 100. And then we're going to calculate the total bill. We're going to get the subtotal plus the gas tax plus the sales tax, the state sales tax. All right, and that's the end of all the calculations. Then we're going to print the customer receipt. We're going to get the gas type. Again, if it's unleaded, then we're going to print the volume counter at whatever the price is per gallon, and then we're going to print the gas price under that. So they know what the price is per gallon, how many gallons they got, and then the actual gas price. If it's not unleaded, then they're going to print the volume counter at leaded price per gallon, print the gas price. And then they're going to print the service type. And for self-service, the receipt's going to say self-service equals free. Gas and go, it's going to print service fee, gas and go rate, and then full service is going to print service fee, full service rate. Then it's going to print the federal tax. It's going to print the percentage at the rate percentage, and then the total calculated gas tax. And then it's going to do the same thing with state sales tax. It'll print the tax rate, percentage, and then the total sales tax for the customer. Then it'll print the subtotal of the bill and the customer's total bill. And that's it. Now we're going to get into the actual desktop test that we did.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I was responsible for actually doing actual testing, and I chose to get unleaded gas since I've never used leaded gas, which was $2.61. A lot of you guys might not know this, but the federal tax rate is 18.4% in this country, which is pretty high. According to the Pseudo Code, to the 261, and I set up a scenario where I got 10 gallons of gas, which is almost about half of the tank for most people. And so the 261 times 10 is $20.61. This doesn't include any taxes at this point. After that, took $20 times the 18.4% tax rate times 100, which equaled $20.61, which gave me a total of $24.40, including the federal gas tax. Next, we had to actually get the state tax, which the rate which was $4.27 at a 17.5% rate, which equaled to $20.67. So at the end, the output for federal tax was $379, the sales tax was $427. The subtotal is going to be $20.61, and the total for everything is over $20.67. Questions? I never realized how difficult it is to stand up here, particularly when everyone looks so excited. So it's
I'm seeing a lot of confusion.
This thing of the professor being up here for such a long period of time, he's just looking at it like, man, he's.
Any questions on the Pseudo Code or?
Excellent.
This has been an awesome production.
Yeah.
I especially like the way that you put actually the simulation of the numbers.
Right.
You trace through the code, so it's like you're actually executing. Because pseudocode you cannot really run it. There's no tool for them. So I actually especially like the way that you plug in the number and then make it walk through your code.
I kind of try to look at it like in comments, like how comments are set up. If you try to use that kind of setup. But
Good idea.
I'm glad.